Hello, my name's Bond, Richard Bond, and this is Curmudgeonly Yours, a show on Society Bites Radio, part of the Radio Ear Network family, supplying social interaction for the mind and soul. The introductory and concluding music to this show is La Polonaise by Wieniawski, played by Max Bond. I am your host and curmudgeon, where everything is what it seems. Nothing is what it seems. And what is not said is often of most interest. Today I will be speaking with Renaissance woman ALITZA Pia Trumpler. Hi, ALITZA.
Hi, how are you? Hi, Richard.
Fine, thank you. It's good to have you on Curmudgeonly Yours on Society Bites Radio, part of the Radio Ear Network and broadcasting out of Sarasota, Florida.
I'm glad to be here.
Okay. ALITZA Pia Trumpler grew up in Czechoslovakia. At the age of 19, she accepted a challenging post as a cultural political director at the Cultural Educational Regional Organization. After the national win of the multimedia program she created, she was pressured to become a Communist Party member. She defected from Czechoslovakia and was granted political asylum in Italy, where she spent 4 fascinating months in a refugee camp. After ALITZA was legally admitted to the United States, she settled in New York and studied fashion design. Her fashion career was short by her choice, but a rewarding one. Awarded Best Designer every year of her studies, and she was identified as one of the top 10 New York fashion designers after her graduation. Within 6 months of her startup company, her products were sold into 600 US boutiques and Japanese Takashimaya department stores. She considers the design and production of a modern glass ornaments collection for Barney's New York department stores' interior holiday display her proudest achievement. ALITZA was consulted also for Macy's and Czechoslovakian production of Christmas ornaments. To challenge herself and satisfy her never-ending experiential curiosity, ALITZA went on to explore uniform and costume design industry befitting all leading hotel brands, Atlantic City and Las Vegas casinos, and she assisted with millinery for Woody Allen's Hannah and Her Sisters movie. When she left New York City, to the shock of many, without any knowledge of cars or the flavor of the industry, ALITZA embarked on a completely new venture she thought to be a short transitional gigs, selling cars under the command of a great management. Her unique soft sale style approach was much welcomed and brought her success. Encouraged by friends and family, she is presently writing a memoir about her defection and the refugee camp experience. Being an idea girl, continuously hungry for new experiences, she is further expanding her long list of projects. Last year, she was pulled into a branding and visual identity world she enjoys very much, and that's called ALITZAPIA.com. What does it feel like to be ALITZA, the multi-interest, multi-talented girl and a woman?
Let's see. It's in a childhood, when I was a little girl, Richard, it was simple because the way we grew up. I mean, when you are a child, you don't need to make main decisions. What am I going to do? What my profession will be? So when you can apply all your talents, all your interests, at least we could, how we grew up. So I was competing, in different levels for school all the time in either math or languages or long jump. I was best sprinter in a school. I was, nationally, I was presenting, there was very serious contest of prose reciting, and I was number 2 in the whole country. So I really threw myself into everything possible, and yet we had to study very hard, and we had a very serious education. So I totally, was using all my either talents, capabilities, opportunities. Now, when you are as an adult, as a woman, and you have all these million interests and supposedly talents, it's much more difficult because
you have to choose.
Select. You have to choose.
Yeah.
You have to like which path you're taking, and so that was much more challenging. But I figured it out actually early on that I don't need to stick with one profession. Let's just go for it and let's see what the world brings to you. And that's how I was navigating.
It sounds like you were. It sounds like you were. Excuse me. It sounds like you were ahead of your time, because in the old Czechoslovakia, I guess we were taught that communism is bad. And how was it? How was it to grow up behind the Iron Curtain?
Yeah, that's a whole different discussion, which would be wonderful. And I'm thinking I would love to have an opportunity to just discuss that, because living here for almost 40 years, and I did spend good parts, I don't need to do the numbers, but I did spend my whole youth in Slovakia, in Czechoslovakia. And so now I have a right actually to say I experienced both systems, and I know what's good where and what's not good where. And so I have to say this to shock of many Americans or many people who are not familiar with the system behind the Iron Curtain. It's good and bad everywhere, and it was not bad in Czechoslovakia whatsoever. As much as we're saying it's not bad in the United States, yes. So we have some positive and negative. What was great about how we grew up was that childhood was for children was amazing. So children could run free because of the control of the police control, those police states. You didn't have much crime, or at least definitely not visible crime. So you feel much free to send your child morning till evening to run around the city. And
you say that you were a political educator at a very young age, and what qualified you to get to that position?
Oh, nothing. Nothing. It was complete accident. I'm suspicious of my father, actually. You know how here when you're a football fan, I mean, football is a big thing in the United States. So you would kill for the best tickets when there is Super Bowl and all that. Same thing for soccer, great tickets. Same thing. You have big fans. And my father, those times, he was secretary of the most successful team. And so he never admitted that, but I believed a little bit. He had some kind of pull on that, but he never wants to say that. He always gives me the credit that I did it. I was 18 or 19, something like that. I was doing summer job in this organization, organizing some of their, libraries and whatever. And I was leaving at the end of the summer, and the director summoned me to this office, and he said, "Oh, ALITZA, we are so happy with your work. Would you like to take position of political educational educator, like Department of Political Education?" So I was like, "What are you talking about? What?" I don't like politics. I am 19. I have no idea. And this is regional. We're talking about a region to educate people in the region, adults. And so that's how I got into it. I don't know how, but I have to tell you how I did it very quickly. I know we have limited time.
Sure.
It was very interesting
about for our listeners, about the defection from Czechoslovakia and staying in a refugee camp. You're writing a book on this. What should we expect from your book? All drama and sorrow?
Not really, but just one way, if I can go back to it. So how I did this political education is I took 80% culture and 20% politics, and that's how I developed programs and created, events and all that. So that's how I managed that.
Smart.
About the book. The book about my book is so different. We read so many depressing refugee stories and so much drama, either World War II, either today what's happening. And so, I feel my story was full of adventures and exciting adventures and passions, falling in love with Italy, discovery, giggles and laughter, and yet drama. And of course, I almost lost my life in the middle of it. So it will have a whole broad, kind of spectrum of emotions in the book. I would love to be educational and entertaining. Also, people don't know, I was told that they don't know that there was a system of procedure, how the political refugees were, set off and let go to certain countries, how the procedure and how the system worked.
Sure.
So I would like to introduce that and what countries were involved, what organizations were helping, how it all worked. So it's educational, entertaining, historical, joy, passion, unexpected ending, and it's all true.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, let's talk about when you came to the United States, because it must have been very traumatic for you to come from a communist country, the United States, and then being dropped off, like you say, in Midtown Manhattan. What was your first week in New York City like?
Oh, gosh. First week. I never forget the first week, of course. First of all, I was very depressed. I was very, very sad. I cried first 2 days. We were not supposed to end up in New York City. We were supposed to go to Chicago. And that's a long story. We escaped with 2 other families, and those 2 other families abandoned us, and they didn't, So wonderful organization, I want to mention that. It's International Rescue Committee. They sponsored us in the last minute, and they took care of us, our beginning. So I had a soft spot for them. And they put us in a hotel. So first week, we were in this Midtown hotel, full of cockroaches. And this is not a complaint because they were helping us, so we appreciate it. But never seen cockroach in my life. I was like, I was with my then 1.5-year-old daughter already. And and the big chain attached to the TV and a wall. So those were the shocks that I never forget. Chain TV, cockroaches, big buildings, walking, lots of sound, strong, all these New York City, Manhattan sounds.
Sure.
And a couple of days later, I started to kind of get used to things. And we left after 1 week because we were lucky to reconnect with 2 brothers from the refugee camp, and they were very excited to help.
So where did you go? Where did you go?
Our first apartment we had in Astoria, New York.
Oh, so, in Queens.
Yeah. That was for 3 months, and then we stayed in a Queens area for another year, and then I moved to Manhattan, where I stayed for many years. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Manhattan now. How about fashion design? You went into fashion design. How did that happen?
When I was growing up in Slovakia, you're 14 years old, and you cannot change your profession when you choose one. So the whole family gets involved. And at the age of 14, they sit in and they decide in your future. So one part of the family, my mother's side, decided based on my talents, and I was in theater and singing. I was a professional group, actually band for 4 years, making more money than many people, I have to say, at that age. Yes. And so they decided I'm going to be an actress. My father was deciding I'm going to be a fashion designer. So they were fighting over it. And we went with a stronger family and studying fashion, the acting. But because I defected, I came to New York City. Here I am standing in the middle and saying, okay, either I'm going to be employed in a store selling, or I'm going to study again. What am I going to study? Whatever I can understand. And because my English was I didn't speak much English whatsoever.
It was
I couldn't
rudimentary.
study for doctor. Yes. To study for doctor, which would be interesting, or attorney, or something else, I would have to really learn English first. For fashion, which was natural to me, I cut up all kinds of things since I was a teenager and created my clothing. It was very easy because you draw, you cut. So that's how I ended up in fashion, actually.
Okay. Well, what's the difference between fashion and style? You mentioned that. What's the difference between the two?
Okay. It's